Hello everybody, my name is Aceface. I wanted to show you guys something that I made. It is a Paladin 3D print, and I've painted it and colored it in the EOM skin as I'm showing you guys here. You can see the EOM skin. This is the EVE ship viewer, just so you know what the EOM ship skin is supposed to look like. But you probably have seen what it looks like in the mission videos I do, because I always rock the EOM skin on my Paladin when I'm doing the Elful missions. I just think it looks amazing. I spent like 1.9 billion ISK on the skin. So first off, I'm just going to show you guys a few pictures that were like in the progress of making it. Then we'll get to like the live video where I showcase it. So here's some footage I made of the print being made. You can see here that it's like it doesn't look a lot like a Paladin. It looks kind of rigid around here. It's hard because of this quality is really bad on the sharing right here. You can see here it doesn't really look much like a Paladin because of all these these straight lines there, the support to make it so that it can stay in place when printing. But when I finished printing and I sanded it and put a little bit of primer to it, it looked like this. So it's I was pretty happy with it. I felt like the model came out really well. I had to spend a lot of time removing the support parts from it, but I think it was totally worth it. So this is what it looks like when I had to sand it to remove the lines from it, because there's a lot of layers involved in 3D printing. But then I add this primer thing to it, which is a kind of layer of paint that makes it easier for proper paint to stick to it. So then when I started painting it, then it looked a bit like this. This was the first sort of coats of paint I painted. It has got like this, the silver base, as you can see here, got like the silver base. I just added the black and silver part to it. But then if we want to see it, the final product and how it looks in real life, this is what it looks like. So as you can see here, pretty cool looking Paladin with some EOM skin tone to it. Got a bit of the blue here. I will admit I'm very new to this whole painting business, so it obviously doesn't look perfect, but I'm still relatively happy with how this turned out. Really, I had to mix like silver color with blue color to get it to be a bit shiny. Maybe it's hard to see, but it's got a bit of a shine in the light with it. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. You can see it's got like these small lights I added on the bottom part. I felt like they could look a lot better, but it was just so difficult with the paintbrushes to make small detailed marks. I really had to try to be very precise, but even then they became a little bit too big in my opinion. You can see here, got the engines over here. Got this like Duplo Blix here that I keep it still on. So this is the Paladin with the EOM skin. Very happy how this turned out, and it's my second 3D print I painted. And there are in fact more ships that I have 3D printed right here. So I want to show you guys a few more of the ships here that I 3D printed. So here's obviously the Purifier that I've printed before, the Canid one. I really like this one because of the paint color. Like the silver and black is one of my favorite color schemes. If we just move the Paladin to the back here, we've got a retribution, a little a retribution. It's becoming a bit of a show and tell, like in nursery. And here is a manticore. You can put this maybe to the side of the retribution over here. The manticore, it was pretty difficult to make it, or I was very I had to modify the 3D model a lot to get it to be good, because it's got a lot of thin flimsy parts on it, so I had to make a lot of parts of it thicker than it actually is. It's a bit of a thick manticore. But I think it looks perfectly fine. Like these wings here, these wings on the side, you see these wings? They had to be made a bit thicker. Like I had to modify it a bit. These like parts that hold the side engines, you could say, I had to also make these a bit thicker too. But I'm thinking that this is perhaps the next one I'll make here, because I really like the look of the Manticore. Also Retribution. But another one I'm considering to do next is the Gila. the mighty Gila, and you can just sit on top of it. The Gila is just I was so happy how this didn't fall apart, because I thought it would fall apart, but it did not. Let's move these out of the way, make a bit of space for the other ships. You can see here the Gila is a pretty like big model compared to the other ones as well. You can see here it fits into my hand like this. The Retribution and the Manticore, they are actually to scale with this Purifier right here. So they're like in relation to each other, they're the proper size. But the Gila is a little bit too small if you compare it to these frigates, and the Paladin definitely is too small if you compare it to these frigates. And it was just really something I was thinking about, that like, you know, it'll be probably a bit too difficult to make them to scale, like especially the battleship. If it would be either the case that I would make the battleship so huge that it would take forever to make, or it would be a case of like having to make the frigates so tiny that they'll look so crap. Or I mean, they won't look crap, but they'll not have the detail that can really emphasize on how detailed the models actually are. Like I still think actually that all these ships, like these small, the cruiser, the frigates here, they're a little bit too small for what they actually ought to be to get the full detail. The Purifier, for example, I mean, I had managed to add quite a bit of detail with the paint, but the thing is, there's actually a lot more detail that can be seen in the Purifier if it was actually bigger. I've seen a person on the EVE Online Reddit, he made a Purifier 3D print, and it was much bigger than mine, and it looked so nice, where you could see like the minute details of the torpedo launchers looked really good. Okay, and if we move the Paladin over here, look at this majestic Paladin, dwarfing all these guys. You can just have it sit here in the background maybe. I'll have this on my desk. Be so nice. I'm just so fun to see one of the most common ships you don't want to break it. One of the most like used ships I have in the games, in the game, like in real life. This Gila, like when I printed this, I was like, wow! It just the amount of hours I've spent with this ship in the game is too many to admit. And then finally being able to see it in real life, give it a little bit of a scratch, you know, it feels really good. It feels really good. And I was surprised how it was able to get these like small antennas out as well. I thought they would just snap off, but they actually managed to pull through these little antennas right here. The same with this Retribution. You can have all the antennas managed to not snap off, because I did make a Retribution previously that was smaller, and they did actually snap off. But this is like, you know, you're in the abyss, right? Just going, shooting away, wrecking scrubs. This Retribution, I'm really surprised, like the wings didn't snap. That was something I was very worried about, because I had printed it before and the wings did snap off, so it was a bit unfortunate right there. But this one luckily did not snap, because I made the wings quite a bit thicker with the help of like a 3D modeling software, in Blender in fact. Alright, so there we go, Paladin 3D print and some other 3D prints I made in the meantime. One thing I would like to say is that these 3D printing videos, they won't come out so frequently. The thing is, these take so much effort to make. It's a lot more difficult than just thinking, okay, tell it to print this and that. First off, it uses this plastic, and this plastic is not free. I mean, it is very cheap, the plastic, but it's not free. Also, it takes, generally speaking, a long time, and I have to be here watching it. So I don't want it to like mess up, because it can sometimes mess up, and it will just make the print just go completely crazy. Like, it will just make the plastic fly all over the place. And when it comes to having to tweak these models, well, like I told you before, like especially with the Manticore, how I have to make certain plastic and you know, more easier for them to print, then that takes a ton of time too. And the thing that actually takes by far the most time, in fact, is the process of painting. The painting process really took me forever. I've been working on this for like 2 weeks, and now it doesn't look like it, and it's not because I've been working on this every day, but what I mean is I have to really like get everything out, get a whole like this like paint set out. I have a pretty small room, so I don't have a good place to paint. So it takes a lot of time just having to and a lot of logistics, so to say, to do this. And I don't have unlimited free time, so it takes a long time. It is a lot harder to make than it looks. I really thought that printing, especially the painting aspect of 3D prints, would be a lot easier than it was, but it's a lot harder than it looks. I have to say that really takes by far the longest amount of time. And I don't want to rush it too fast, because then it won't look good, and you don't want to waste a 3D model either with a bad paint. You get a good 3D print, you want to have some good paint on it as well. So these will not come out too often, but they'll come out from time to time when I get the time for it. And hope you guys enjoyed it either way. I think it's really cool to be able to see my ships in real life. If you did enjoy the video, please leave a like and subscribe. I'll catch you guys later. Goodbye.